Hello everybody, this is Mwangi here, and what I wanted to show you is very quickly how to subscribe to the Displaced African podcast. So I'll just get straight to it. You go and click on iTunes. Now, if you don't have iTunes, I'll quickly show you how to get iTunes. Just a moment. Alright, you would get iTunes by going to www.apple.com/iTunes, and iTunes is iTunes, so apple.com/iTunes, and you would find a link right there to download iTunes. So you download iTunes, install iTunes, and what you get is something that looks a bit like this. Okay, so how do you subscribe to the Displaced African podcast? You come here to this section here called Store, which I will highlight briefly. This section right here, the iTunes Store. So you come, click on the iTunes Store, wait for the store to open. Then here, right here is the search function, which again, let me highlight that for you. That's the search function there. So what you do is you come into this search function, click in it, and write Displaced African. And you'll see a nice picture of me right there. That might change over time, but you'll see the words The Displaced African, Mwangi, The Displaced African. Again, let me highlight that for all of you. It's under the podcast section. So what you'd simply do, come here, or you can even find it right there under the Displaced African. Society and Culture, it's under the Society and Culture section. It's free, The Displaced African. The artist is me, Mwangi, The Displaced African. So you just click subscribe. And you click subscribe again. And then what you do is you come to podcast, and you'll see that it's right there. So like the latest podcast that has gone up is the interview that I did with DNA, Derek Ashong, who is the YouTube superstar, very, very clever guy. Here are a few. Here's the time I was on the radio, my interview with David Kobia. This is when I spoke to my little sisters, Sex Talk with Ekene Igabu, my interview with Stella Mwangi. These are some of my press and media appearances. So very quickly, you come here to downloads. You'll see that it's downloading my podcasts. So what you do anytime that you're looking for podcasts from the Displaced African is you open your iTunes, click on this section here, podcasts. So you just come there, click on podcasts. You see that little arrow there? Click on that little arrow. If you want to get a podcast, click on get. And as soon as it's in, I'll show you, because I have my podcast already installed. If I want to put this into my iPod, all I do is come, drag it, and it's in. It's that simple. And all I'd have to do is go to my podcast section here, and there is the interview there. Here's some stuff from the Mosaic. I actually wrote a post about this one, about the Mosaic, this one on work recently. That's by Erwin McManus. This sermon here on porn is by Kim McManus. So those are just some other podcasts, but there's my podcast right there. Anyway, if you have any further questions, just go to www.thedisplacedafrican.com, click on contact, write me an email if you have any questions. But I think that should be all you really need. This is Mwangi here. Have a fantastic day. Be blessed and bless others.